Yes, folks, it's Thursday. I'm Fred McMurray. It's 2 p.m. Pacific, which means this must be. Wow, I kind of garbled that one. This must be. Well, Kristin, we're back again.
We are. We have a penguin with no. Is that a bulldog with a top hat?
Yep,
Dancing
bulldog with
over
a.
my shoulder.
Yep, dancing bulldog. How's that for you? How's that something different for you this week?
Yes, yes, excellent, excellent.
So, what's the news? What's the news in the franchising world?
Oh my goodness, we have so much great stuff coming up today. We have a new franchise or in franchise development leader we're going to be talking to today. We have been working with our new mentee, Tara, on her new adventure. She and I just had a nice conversation, and I sent her a list of things that we need to collect from the franchisor and from her new business partner. So we're getting things together there in terms of when you decide to be a partner in an existing franchise, when you join one that's existing, I should say, how does that look? Do you have to join as a new franchisee? Does the term of the agreement start all over again? And we're also looking at what does the operating and management agreement look like, so we understand whose duties are what in the relationship and who is responsible for which roles and things of that nature, how everybody's going to be paid, etc. So we've got a lot to report on probably in the next couple of weeks as we find answers to those things. And certainly we're going to use David and Jerry and Ray to share the information and make sure we kind of use a team approach and make sure there's nothing I'm missing or that I haven't thought of that maybe one of the gentlemen have thought of in guiding Tara to the right answers. So that's where we are with the mentee program. We do have a couple more people who have signed up and are interested in the program as well. And we want to remind everybody that if you're looking to buy a franchise, please visit our homepage at pillarsoffranchising.com, where we have a mentee section where you can sign up if you're interested in being a mentee on the program while you're looking for a franchise.
So, I know that you said that there's others in the potential mentees going to be starting. Rumor, a little bird or a little dog, dancing dog, told me that there might actually be somehow, and this is really jumping the shark. Oh, sorry, I missed the shark. This is really jumping the shark. That there might actually be a startup franchisor in the mix.
That is true. That is true. I have had some conversation, and we have a meeting scheduled with both a franchise lawyer, one of our favorite franchise lawyers, Harold.
Harold, yay!
Harold. So we've got a call coming up, and this potential franchisor and I are going to meet next week and talk about what it takes to take her business from what it is today and become a franchisor. So we have a lot of exciting stuff coming up.
So since whoever generated this, the million dollar mentor, sorry, can't even get it out right. Since this idea was generated last year, wow, you've gone from like a bunch of mentees to now even a franchisor. Wow, that's not bad. Kudos to you and the team.
Well, I'll have to tell you, it's really the team because, as everybody knows, not one person can get all this done. And it's really not only the background and knowledge of everybody else, but the experience and everybody's willingness to share and work together that makes this team so great. So, I certainly wouldn't take credit for that. It would go to everybody because the guys I work with on this team, especially you, Fred, and getting us the exposure to get our names out there and our skill sets out there is really important. So I feel really confident in what we're looking to do today and in the future. And so I think there's nowhere to go but up at this point.
So it would be like today, franchisee mentees, tomorrow, franchisor mentees, and the next day, the world? Never mind.
I'm not that, what's the word? I'm a little more modest, right?
Yeah, but
Sure, why not?
why not? I mean, Covey said begin with the end in mind. So hey, let's own the franchising world, right? Okay, never mind.
There you go. There
So
you go.
shall we bring our guests in so we can talk about weather?
Yeah, yeah. I want to do that, and then Ray could introduce us to our guys that we're talking to today. It's very exciting, this new concept. So fantastic.
And away we go.
There you all are. Hi, Ray.
Do we want to talk about weather?
I always
Wow.
want to talk about weather, but you know.
Well, it's hot. It's hot here in the western part of the Chicagoland area.
It's not.
It's 90
hot.
degrees. It's,
Okay, it's 84, says Apple.
well, it's 90 here. You're a little closer to the water over there at the big pond.
Listen, you're like
big
10
pond.
miles south, and that does not qualify for putting you closer to the equator.
Yeah, technically that does. I mean, technically
Not in
10
my-
miles south is, if you got to walk an extra 10 miles, he's close.
Uphill,
Yeah.
barefoot, both ways.
Through the snow.
I'll
Ray would
go
be
ahead and
happy.
introduce our guests. I'll introduce both our guests, and then we'll ask them about the weather where they're at. Okay, so we have, first of all, Nicholas Dugan, and Nick is a fresh blood into the world of franchising with a degree in biology and a background in restaurants and real estate. He also likes to tutor students of all ages through college. Loves technology and travel and history. And Bryan Weinstein is he's the founder and CEO of Barbecue and an experienced leader in the grilling industry. He has a distinct background in business ownership and franchising. Bryan created Barbecue, a franchise barbecue cleaning service, when he noticed how dirty his barbecue was, and I can relate to that. After searching for a good cleaner and not finding one, he decided to start his own company. Bryan is an experienced leader in the grilling and franchise industry. So welcome to the show, guys. And
Thanks for having us.
Where you're at, and
Wait,
what it
Ray.
looks like.
Ray, question for you. Is it Bryan or is it Bryan? I'm not sure because it sounded like you said both. Never mind.
Bryan? I said
Well, you
Bryan.
said Bryan originally, so I was commenting of, did you mean just one
Oh,
Bryan
okay,
or is it Bryan
Well,
squared?
maybe I said it twice. I apologize if I did.
Somebody's got to
No
catch on
problem.
these
It's just
things.
me. Just one Bryan. Just one Bryan. And thanks for having
You guys
us.
got to know our show is full of gaffes, and we don't hide them.
Yeah. chaos.
No problem. No problem. We're here.
So,
We're
Bryan,
here 'cause
where
we
are
like
you?
that.
And you're being photobombed, so where are you at, Bryan?
Yeah. What's going on?
I
Love it.
am in sunny Southern California, in Irvine, California. My 14-year-old son is in the middle of a baseball tournament, and I am out here enjoying the sun, enjoying the baseball. And again, thanks for having me and Nick, and we look forward to a good meeting today.
Awesome. Nick, where are you?
Just 25 miles south of Bryan, San Clemente, California. My parents live down here. My sister's graduating today, so we're just going to go do that little ceremony and probably do some barbecuing later today.
Awesome. But how
Nice.
cool will your grill be?
Well, we appreciate you guys taking a little time out of your busy schedule and visiting with us.
Thanks for having us.
Okay, so I have to tell you a few of the things that I've experienced in my years of barbecuing. So I used to be the one that barbecued in the family, and I've since been replaced, which is probably a good thing. So I remember at one point opening the barbecue, and yes, we have quite long winters here in Chicago, and finding a bird's nest with eggs inside of it and thinking, how do you deal with that, right? So it's one thing to like get the nest and the eggs out, but it's another thing to deal with everything that that's been going on inside the grill, right?
Yeah.
And then I've had those experiences where we were up at Dewey Lake, and I know Dale on Dewey is one of our favorite listeners, and we were next door and we turned the grill on, and all of a sudden flames went shooting up through the grill and almost into the house, into the garage. And I think that was due to like some extra grease that nobody bothered to clean up. So that's the type of person that you're talking to as we talk about barbecue cleaning today.
I think I need to hire you as my director of marketing, because those two things are two of the things that we look for and talk to with our customers. As far as the bird's nest go, we actually see more rat's nest, which is even more disgusting, but it's the truth. But it makes sense, right? A barbecue is a warm place with old food. I mean, why wouldn't, if you're a rat, that's where I'd want to be. But yeah, no, so our cleaning process, kind of the secret weapon of it is a steam cleaner. So we come through there with 340 degree water at 90 psi and really disinfect the whole inside of that grill. Whether or not there was a rat or not in there, it's completely disinfected. We don't feel bad about cooking on it again after a good cleaning is done. As for the second instance you brought up, I did read a stat, I think it's an old stat from 2019 actually. There were 180,000 barbecue fires in the United States. And that's simply a result of neglect and the fact that the barbecue hasn't been cleaned, serviced, taken care of. It could be that the burners are in there incorrectly and causing a kickback. Could be that the burners are clogged. It could be that there's just so much junk underneath there that get in the way of the barbecue doing what it needs to do, that it kicks back towards the chef. And so all those things are good reasons to have a barbecue clean serviced by someone like BarbieClean.
Awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I got one barbecue story to tell, and hopefully I can get this through this quickly. A neighbor went out on a vacation and said to his other neighbor's son, "Can you watch the house?" Well, that son decided he's going to have a barbecue on the house he's watching. Went over there, put barbecue briquettes in the grill, and lit it on fire. Okay, and then they decided it wasn't working right, so they just left it all.
Mm-hmm.
The grill caught on fire and burnt down $1 million home because it was a gas grill.
Yep. I was gonna say, and then they turned on the gas. Oh my God, I can't believe it.
Well, you just mentioned one of the 180,000 that I talked about a second ago. Yep, it happened.
Yeah,
it happens. It happens.
So tell me, where do you guys see BarbieClean? Because it's interesting when you think about home service, and Ray and I are in the home services industry, right? So where do you see BarbieClean fitting into that segment, right? You've got window cleaners, you got maids, you got landscapers.
Yeah, I mean, all of those things that you just mentioned and all the other home services are simply items that need to be done around the house that homeowners don't want to do themselves. And so we're really no different in terms of that description than anybody else. I don't necessarily compare us to the home cleaners, but I definitely compare us to the window cleaners, the carpet cleaners, because it's not a weekly or bi-monthly type service. It's more every 6 months or every year, just like window cleaning or carpet cleaning. The only difference is window cleaning, carpet cleaning has been around 25, 30, 40 years, right? And a homeowner knows that if they were to do an internet search for barbecue cleaning or for window cleaning or carpet cleaning, they're going to find somebody to do it for them. They'll probably find 300, 400, 500 people that do that. Whereas in the barbecue industry, most people don't have any idea that our service exists. And so that actually makes it more fun for me and for my franchisees, because it puts the onus on us to really get eyeballs on the opportunity to have their barbecue cleaned rather than do it themselves. And so we spend a lot of time with, the I talk about, it's more about advertising than marketing, because advertising is strictly about building awareness. And that's more of what we need to do in our industry. But like I said, the carpet cleaning and the window cleaning has been around 30 years. So I've been around 8, 9. I think maybe some mom and pops have been around maybe a little bit longer, but not much. So I'm super excited to see where this industry is, 5, 10, 20 years down the road. If we're 10% of what the window cleaning and carpet cleaning industry is, we're going to have some serious market share, and that excites me very much.
That's awesome. Now, when you sell your territories, do you do that like geographic location? Do you do it on a qualified household? Tell me how you set up your territories or your areas.
Yeah, good question. Our territories consist of approximately 100,000 homes greater than a $50,000 a year annual household income. The reason I added that kind of income qualifier is because I don't know if you mentioned I'm a franchisee in another business that goes strictly on population. And here I may be in beautiful Irvine, but the city right next door to me is not such a nice city. And obviously, the not so nice cities are more populous. So it didn't seem right for me as the franchisor to give someone a territory where a good percentage of their territory is not so nice. And so I put that income qualifier in there. And frankly, I could pay to have territories created across the country. But I kind of put in the hands of the incoming franchisee to help me build a territory that they think that they can be successful in. And so I don't have set territories. It's something where a prospective franchisee and I will sit down with the mapping software and we'll create something that, right around that 100,000 home number that they think they could be successful in, and that I think that they could be successful in as well.
I think that's really interesting because one of the first things I thought of, and I think I was mentioning it to you, Ray, is that two things. One, it seems like this is a great product for the environments that tend to have, not that they wouldn't work here in Chicago, because after you come out of a long, hard winter, who knows what you find in your grill, unless you're like me who grills in the snow. But most common, I would think, are those areas that can enjoy outdoor living year round, and be really a more affluent type of customer. Seems as though they would be someone to really enjoy your type of service. Is that accurate? Or
Yeah, I mean, in the end, it's a disposable income opportunity, right? If someone's on a budget, they're not going to throw a couple $100s to getting their barbecue cleans. It's the people that have a few extra $100 to throw at it and want their grill clean for the next time they cook on it. So you're right in that case. As for seasonality, it's kind of interesting, and obviously we have this conversation with all prospective franchisees, and that's to me, every home service business has some level of seasonality. And frankly, my Miami and my Phoenix franchisee, they have a little bit of reverse seasonality, right? Most people think of seasonality as winter. Guys in Miami and Phoenix don't want to go outside in July and August, and so it's a little bit different. So even here in Southern California, we get 10 good months out of the year, but you could look at that those extra 2 months as downtime, or you could look at it as opportunity time. I choose to look at it as opportunity time. Gives me and my franchisees an opportunity to work on our business when we're not so busy, kind of focusing on the day-to-day, kind of building the business from within, and seeing where we can start again once the weather turns. And in our case, middle of February. In your case, maybe March or April. But those downtimes are or May. But those kind of opportunity times are just as important to the business as the high times.
Yeah. Personally, I grill in single-digit weather. It's when it's too windy, when it sucks the heat from the grill. That's hard to do.
Yeah, it's hard. Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah. So how did you get into this whole industry of barbecue cleaning? I mean, obviously you had stated that it, after looking at your own grill, it was like, okay, something's got to be done. And Nick, I mean, I know he's new, but he had some experience in restaurants. So that seems like it would be a really good kind of tie-in there for the two of you.
Yeah, and I'll start, but you've probably heard it 1,000 times that the necessity is the mother of invention. I went out to my own grill and it was filthy, and went and did an internet search. Again, I'm in Southern California, 20-something million people. I did an internet search for barbecue cleaning. There was one guy doing it. And rather than having him come out to clean it, I saw it as an opportunity to start my own business around kind of a niche opportunity. And it's turned out really well. I've enjoyed it. I was a marketing major, so that is fun, trying to get, like I said earlier, eyeballs on the opportunity. And it's kind of the same when we're recruiting franchisees. Nobody really had ever heard or thought of barbecue cleaning as a business opportunity. So it's incumbent upon Nick and myself not only to get people to understand that we're here, but to convince them and help them understand that being in a niche business like this has its great advantages over jumping on in a industry that's well established. And so people a lot of times are scared of the unknown, but those people that aren't scared of it and are willing to take it on, jump in with 2 feet, they reap the benefits from it. We've got some really successful franchisees.
Yeah, excellent, excellent. David, I saw that you had pinged me. David, I know you're out there. David Kajganich, do you have a question for these gentlemen?
Yeah, I was just curious with territories of 100,000 people. That depends how dense it is, but that could be fairly large territory. How many employees does that typically take to run a territory of a busy franchise?
Good question. I just want to reiterate, it's 100,000 households, not population. So it's 100,000 households. Those numbers go back. It's the 2010 census because we haven't had one since. And actually, those financial numbers go back all the way to the 2003 census. So big advantages to the incoming franchisees versus the franchisor, but I'm okay with that. I like giving good opportunities to people. But as for employees, in my territory here in Southern California, we have 5 technicians. I also have a customer service representative and operations manager. My next busiest territory is another one in Ventura. They have 6 technicians. And then I've got franchisees that still like getting their hands dirty. So my top producing franchisee in terms of revenue is in Florida. He's still out there getting his hands dirty, replacing grills, cleaning grills, doing repairs, doing everything. And so it's him, his father-in-law, and one other guy cleaning, and they're my highest producing in terms of revenue amongst all my franchisees across the country. So it kind of all depends on how the specific franchisee wants to run their business, how involved they want to be. For me, I don't have the time to be in the day-to-day because I'm helping Nick recruit franchisees and supporting the existing franchisees. That's why I have the extra people, but it's been great not to have to answer the phone and have someone really, really good doing it, probably even better than I am.
Well, Ray would want to be out there. Ray would be out there fixing grills.
Yeah,
that's good.
That's why I would not own one, because I would be out there. That's my problem. Yeah.
He loves that stuff. So I know he would be out there. I just got my message that we need to go to a commercial break so we can pay the bills. However, when we come back, Nick, I do want to talk to you because I want to know what you think now that you've come on board to help sell franchises and develop the model a step further. I'd like to kind of hear your vision and how you think you're going to fit in and help the organization grow. So we'll be right back in just a moment after this brief commercial break.
And a reminder, if you've got questions, you can call into 323-580-5755. That's 323-580-5755. Or you can live chat at thepillarsofranchising.com.
Hey, franchise owners. How's your local marketing? Do you feel like you could use some help keeping up with your social media posts and comments and reviews? Do you wonder if you could be doing more to attract local customers? Are you able to identify new move-ins to your local area? At Westvyne, we help franchisees like you reach more local customers through digital marketing. With daily monitoring, creative content, and ad placement, and customer data intelligence, we'll get your business in front of the people who want your products or services. We also work with franchisors who need an agency to handle the digital marketing for all of their locations. If you're ready to reach more local customers, give us a call at 805-265-5440 or visit us at westvyne.com. That's 805-265-5440 or westvyne with a y.com.
Ooh, laser tag. Okay, with that tag, Nick, you're up. Tell us, how do you think your restaurant background has helped you, and what do you see the future of Barbie Clean to be?
Yeah, well, my restaurant background, that's just kind of growing up, waiting tables and things like that. Really meeting Bryan, vegetarianism, veganism, it's all very faddish right now. And I kind of went the opposite track and went full carnivore. So I was always attracted to grilling and that was always that. So that made it very easy for me to like what we were doing at Barbie Clean. And in terms of developing franchises, we just want to make an irresistible opportunity for people. And, we're going in the right direction with that, where by sort of having relationships with the major manufacturers for selling grills. I think that's an important component. People know they have backing of these sort of significant organizations that and that lending their brand name to us is always going to be helpful.
That's a really good point. I don't want to interrupt you there, but you just said something that struck me. So are you partnering then with, so my favorite, I'll give them a plug because it's my favorite for years and years, has been Weber Grill. So do you partner with companies like that? Is that what you mean by working with the brands?
Yeah, I'll just jump in and answer that because it's closer to kind of my area of expertise. We represent, whether we have relationships directly with the manufacturers or with local distributors, we can get any grill on the market for any one of our customers. And they typically come with real nice markups for on our end. Real good like dealer pricing that we get to where, we'll replace a grill, we'll make $1,500, $2,000 for taking a grill out and dropping one in and installing it. So we do grill, obviously cleaning, we do repairs, parts replacement, and then new grill replacement. If we show up at a grill and it's just shot and there's no help for it, we'll recommend a grill replacement. We'll make a few recommendations and we can get those grills for the customer and obviously install it for them so they could use a brand new grill in their backyard.
I think that's a great service. I hadn't thought nor had I read anything about the grill replacement parts and things. And so I think that's really, really helpful. I've got a friend that has a Weber, which of course, again, is my grill. And I'm like, oh, you can go buy all the parts for that. And then of course, like, well, what size of grates do I need? And what size of flavorizer buyers do I need? And I'm like, well, I think Home Depot has this and Ace Hardware has that. Next thing you know, you're going to 3 different places to get all the parts you need from Weber. Or you have to go online and hope the heck you got the right pieces, right? So
yeah, repairs and replacements and full grill replacements have become a big part of our business over the last 2 to 3 years. It's been a good addition.
Awesome. I'm sorry, Nick. So take me back here. So your vision, where do you see?
Well, and then just one other thing. I mean, another part of it is not only do we work with the manufacturers on the selling side, but also they call us for warranties. Warranty calls. We're sort of partnering with them to kind of handle their sort of field work that they have to do. Being able to just, explain to potential franchisees just what exactly they're getting with us. And I think there's an economic shift that's happening now towards the home service space, sort of away from retail space. COVID has accelerated that. We think we're really kind of on the cutting edge of that transition, and just being able to crystallize that for franchisees, show them the vision for the future, which is coming. So it's all a matter of explanation of an occurring phenomenon.
Well, I totally appreciate that because I can see as the generations change, right? So my dad's generation, for an example, would go out and completely tear the grill apart, clean everything, and then put it all back together. My generation looks at it and goes, okay, well, I'll pick up a couple pieces and hope it works. And after 2 or 3 tries, if it doesn't work, I'm going to go buy a new one. I think my kids' generation is like, oh, it doesn't work, throw it away and buy a new one, right? So having you guys there where I can say, hey, my grill's not working. Can you just come and tell me what's going on with it? You may be able to fix it with a cleaning. You may be able to fix it with cleaning and a couple of parts replacements, or you may be able to say, we got to get you a whole new grill. And so I think that's a really great service that you offer. And that's certainly one thing that I would probably highlight in your marketing material, because I think that's really for somebody like me, being a female and not necessarily, I'm probably a little bit handier than most because my dad made me be, but a lot of us out there aren't real handy and aren't going to play around with a propane tank and a bunch of hoses and igniter switches, right? So I think that's actually a really great idea. So
yeah, we do all that stuff. Actually, one of my technicians today, on his way out to the home that he was working on, he stopped and got a propane tank because it was empty. And so that's something we do as well. It's not something we necessarily advertise. I know there's other companies out there doing it, but it's kind of full service. Whatever the customer needs, we're here to help them with.
awesome.
The thing is, the service industry in general, it has been booming for a number of years. So you're right at the cusp of this. I think the convenience, and when I think about when I bought my grill, which happened to be a Weber, it's the Summit 670, the big 6-burner.
Big one. Yeah, it's a monster.
Only the guy who bought the big one still knows the model. I have the Silver B, okay? So I don't have that whole Summit one that you have. But When you own a Weber, you know.
Being rather handy, it wasn't difficult, but I was thinking putting this thing together, this is going to be a daunting task for people, and who maybe he works downtown, and he comes home, he's only got a couple hours to play with the kids. To put together a grill, it's going to take a half a day.
That's what we're here for.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
So you're at the cusp of something really great here, and
Yeah.
I think I'd like to get into a little bit about the nuts and bolts about the franchise. What's it going to take to get a territory? Tell us, what are you looking for net worth, and what are you looking for liquid, and things like that.
Yeah, our franchise fee is $30,000. In addition to that, startup costs are simply right around $7,000. Our equipment set's $3,000. You got to travel out here to Southern California, which isn't too bad. So a plane flight and a couple nights in a hotel. Obviously, you need to create an entity to buy the territory under, insurance, all things that probably aren't startup costs to most, including marketing. I recommend about $2,000 in marketing as a startup cost. And I call it a startup cost because I don't believe you're in business until you start making money, and you don't start making money until you start marketing. And so I recommend about $2,000 in kind of a grand opening marketing blitz. And if that's done in a timely manner, we expect for your phone to start ringing, soon after you return home from training. And all in about $37,000. We have a couple of lenders that help prospective franchisees with financing if that's something that they need. But other than that, kind of a low barrier to entry as far as franchising goes.
That's great, because our last show, the entry was, let's say it was on the other end of the spectrum.
Well, it was a totally different. It was a totally different kind of business.
Yeah, it was.
Right.
But still,
so it's always.
The thing about the show is that we have people.
All ends of the spectrum.
Our audience is varied, so this is great.
Different.
This is great.
I'm actually, more and more intrigued by this than I was when we started, because at first I'm like, okay, we're gonna clean barbecues. All right, well, how did that? And I think about, how does that sit like on top of a business like mine or Ray's? Like, how could you incorporate that in? And then as we talk about all these other, I'll call them add-on or extra services, I'm like, hey, now this is pretty slick. So do you know right now, do you have anybody down there in Huntington Beach? I asked for another.
That's where I'm at. Yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm close to
Well, I
Huntington
can't
Beach.
pass that along to Mario then. Well, that's another one.
But just to kind of shine a light on what you were just talking about, we do have a few franchisees that came over from other existing franchisees that came in and added this on. And people think when they add on a business that, I've got a couple thousand customers that know and trust me, and I'm going to get them to use this other business. And that's true. That'll happen. But I like the inverse side of it. The fact that you now have this other opportunity, BarbieClean, to advertise, which is very niche. You don't have to work real hard. You don't have to do any price drops or any of this stuff to bring people into the house. You're going to get brand new customers with a niche opportunity, earn their trust doing this, and then turn them on to your existing business, whether it's, house cleaning or window cleaning or whatever it is. I see the inverse side of that being even more attractive than simply advertising to your existing customers with this new exciting service that you have to offer.
So I think that's a really great way to look at it. One thing I would ask you on that is, because it's such a niche business, and one of the things that I communicated kind of back and forth with you guys on via email was, tell me about the kind of support that you give to your franchisees kind of before, during, and after the opening, because obviously when you're dealing with a niche environment and you're dealing with people who buy a franchise, not all of them are marketing experts. Not all of them know how to go out and dig through data to determine within a certain territory of, say, semi-affluent clients or potential clients, how to market. So can you tell me a little bit about how you support franchisees in that process?
Sure. Obviously, it starts prior to training. Once they Once they sign their agreement, I have an onboarding checklist, all the administrative things that franchisee needs to do before they get into business. I prefer they do that prior to coming to training. So like I said, when they get home from training, they're able to jump in and start answering the phone and building the business. Then they come to training. Obviously, we do everything from starting the business, growing the business, being efficient in the business. We spend a lot of time, obviously, on marketing, sales pitch, and then the technical side. The second day, we go out and we clean a couple grills. And we show some repairs and show how to replace grills and really everything that they need to run the business. But as far as the marketing side and the support side, again, like I said earlier, for me, it's about building awareness. It's about getting into as many mailboxes in front of as many people as possible so that they can learn about a brand new business that they've never even heard of. When people call us, our conversion rate, when people call us, is somewhere between 70 and 80%. Because they're not pricing us. They're not trying to find out what our price is and moving on to the next. They're saying, holy moly, there's someone who cleans grills. I'm going to call them. And if the price fits into their liking, they're our customer. Right. And so, whether it's direct marketing, the post office has a great program now where we can really narrow down to specific routes.
BDDM, right?
Yeah, it's great.
Yep, my favorite.
We all use it and it's great. Direct marketing, we've got full suites of marketing materials that the franchisees can use. And that's kind of how we go about. And then obviously networking, whether it's other service professionals, apartment complexes, it's just an endless opportunity out there to bring in new customers. And then as far as support goes, we have our own proprietary database management software that we created from the ground up, specific for BarbieClean, and the point of that obviously is just to make it as efficient for our franchisees as possible, and it works great. Everyone uses it on a daily basis, and it keeps everybody very organized. I offer just kind of business coaching, business support on a monthly basis. I created a dashboard for all my franchisees to where we have we do have a goal setting exercise, and then obviously we track all the numbers and we talk about what they're doing, what they need to do, and then just kind of meet on a monthly basis to see how they're doing, how they're tracking with their goals, what they need to do more of and less of to help them reach those goals. And so that's a small sample of what we do to support our franchisees.
Okay, well, that's great. Well, we are going to have all of your contact information out there on our website. Would you like to please review with us the best way for people to contact you? Ray did a great job of getting, so let's just say just shy of 40,000 kind of all in. Is that fair to say, to get BarbieClean up and going?
Yep, and of course a veterans discount of 15% off the franchise fee, so it'll save another $5,000 or so. So yeah, 33 to $38,000 depending on veteran or not.
Awesome. And tell us how our listeners find you.
Okay. Our website is www.barbieclean, bar-clean-franchising.com. Or you can call me. My name is Bryan. I'm the CEO and founder. You can call me. My phone number is 818-470-6350. My email is Bryan, B-R-Y-A-N, @barbieclean.com, bar-b-clean. And Nick, if you want to give your information as well, you can reach out to Nick as well. He'd be more than happy to walk you through the steps on becoming a franchisee as well. Yeah,
of course. You can reach me, cell phone 949-304-3439, and email Nick, N-I-C-K, @bar-b-clean.com.
Awesome. Well, I wish you the best of luck at the baseball tournament. I will be at another one yet again this weekend, so I know how that goes. And you guys, it's really been a pleasure having you on the show. I'm actually super excited about your model. And as we meet with franchisees, potential franchisees and franchisors, we're certainly going to keep yours top of mind. And as some of these folks come through looking for businesses to buy, I'm excited to say that we've actually met you guys and we've got to talk about your business, and that this actually sounds like a really great opportunity for people to get started.
Thank you much for the opportunity to be on your show, and looking forward to hearing from you again and seeing what this next 3, 5, 10, 15 years brings us.
Yeah, nothing but success, I hope.
Appreciate it.
All right,
okay, great. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
And now, Fred, are we going to go
Franchise Woman is
commercial?
a bi-monthly digital magazine that empowers women as they navigate the franchising industry by providing relevant news, tools, advice, and inspiration. We are a resource for women who are seeking to own their own businesses, improve their existing businesses, find creative solutions, and take advantage of franchise opportunities. We feature women in the business who best exemplify our ideals and have something to teach our readers. In addition to our exclusive articles relating to the female entrepreneur, we also feature brands that are geared for women. Women have become the fastest growing sector in business ownership and have become a powerful, influenceable force fueling the economy. The Franchise Women will give you the news that is relevant to you to help you navigate the path of successful franchise ownership. By women, for women, and about women. We are the Franchise Women. Join us today at www.thefranchisewoman.com.
Ooh, I am so excited about barbecuing. Now I'm getting hungry.
That was incredible.
Yeah, like the more they talk, the more I'm like, oh my gosh, I really like this idea. This is really cool.
Well, I love the broad spectrum of franchisors and opportunities that we have on the show all the time, but this one hit home on so many levels. I'm going to be honest with you. I haven't barbecued in years, and for two reasons. One, the main one is I got tired of cleaning the grill. So I told you guys that off the air early on. I threw my grill away because it was so disgustingly dirty. I never bought another one because I don't like cleaning it. Now, the other part of it is, which we talked off the air, is I'm real picky when it comes to barbecuing. So it needs to be clean because I don't want the carcinogen, floating around. So I'm sitting here going, maybe I can start barbecuing again. That would be fantastic.
Hey, and not only that, with your place down in Florida, they've got a franchise down there in Florida.
Yeah, well, they might have two if I explore it a little bit further.
I was thinking kind of the same thing. I'm thinking like, whereabouts in my neighborhood here could I do this? But actually, I want to move to the beach, so I should just wait until I move to the beach, and then I've got my outdoor living, and all my neighbors have it.
There we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
I'm digging it. Too bad Huntington Beach is taken.
I think a very creative and very great and needed concept. So those of you listening, I mean, I don't know. I definitely look into it.
Definitely. In a good low point of entry too. So
you're not kidding.
Awesome. Cool. So what do you got for us today, David?
So I love this part of whenever I come across managers or self-proclaimed leaders, or really, I shouldn't say it that way. I don't want to be cynical. But people in a position of authority where they are responsible for getting performance from others. So they use this word coaching and leadership and then managing and all these words as if they're all one thing, and they're not even close to being one thing. True coaching is the ability to get high performance out of people. And the only way you can do that, as the title says, quit telling them and start asking them. I hear so many times, I hear managers and shift leads or whatever you want to call them, people in authority, this sentence, right, or a version of it. Mm-hmm. I already told them what to do. I don't know why they aren't doing it.
Ooh, good point.
I've already told them this. I don't know why I have to keep telling them over and over and over again. Mm-hmm. And to me, I always chuckle. That is such a deflection of a statement. That's a reflection on you as a person trying to get performance out of your staff. So if they're not responding, it's not the people.
That's right. Time to take a look in the mirror.
That's right. And so the first thing they do then is they give me this head nod when I start talking to them as if they're already doing what they're supposed to be doing in motivating people. And I tell everybody, I said, are you really good at motivating others? And they'll say, well, yeah. Well, no, you can't motivate anybody against their will, right? So everybody, though, is motivated to do what they want to do.
Right.
Everybody's motivated to do what they want to do. So you get in this mode where people just tell people what to do, tell people what to do, and tell people what to do. And then they wonder why they're not getting great performance. So I'm going to take this in a little bit of a turn, a little different approach. Okay. So when I tell everybody, you have to stop telling people what to do and start asking questions. And they don't really understand what that means. But the key to it is when you're doing that, when you ask the proper questions in kind of a coaching setting, which, you know, is a skill that can be learned. Okay, I'm not, you know, that's what I taught all my managers. It's a skill that can be learned, but you create what I call subconscious commitment from the person you're trying to extract performance from. And I don't care if it's an athlete. I don't care if it's a person working in the kitchen. I don't care who it is. Everybody makes their decisions. Everybody, you know, is driven. Probably 95% of their actions are driven by their subconscious mind. So if you can't influence at the subconscious level, you'll never maximize the other person's performance. Okay, so it's a skill that can be learned. There isn't a baseball team that I haven't been asked to help coach or coach myself that hasn't won a championship. There isn't a team that hasn't gone from last place to a championship. There isn't a restaurant that was about to be closed or shut down that we haven't turned around. And everybody said, well, how'd you do it? And I said, through the team. But you have to be able to influence performance. So people are probably going, okay, you keep talking about this, so how do you do it?
Right. Well, part of it, you have to know who you have working for you, right?
Kind of. Doesn't matter.
I mean, everybody's motivated a little differently, right?
So bingo. So they're motivated a little bit differently. So the only way that you can, there's two things. The very first step, it's just like you said, it starts with knowing the personality traits and what makes them tick first. So that's easy because you need to be able to make that connection. But then after that, say you want a task done, and this, Chris, and I'm thinking of you also, but because you have similar employee base that we had when we were running restaurants.
Right.
So one of the things our managers used to go crazy on is bussing tables, or what I should call pre-bussing the tables, because nobody wants to sit there with a bunch of stuff, half-eaten food or empty, or, you know, eaten food and empty plates, all that stuff sitting on their tables.
Yep.
But servers don't get paid a whole lot of money for pre-bussing. They get paid running around, right? So,
That's
you know,
right.
getting orders and upselling and selling more drinks. So pre-bussing was always an issue. So finally, at this one particular restaurant, I said, look, I said, how are you doing? Well, we're telling them we got a pre-bus in their pre-shift meetings. I said, let's flip it around. I said, telling them what to do is going in one ear and out the other.
Right.
I said, so you've got to be able to ask them. So you start with, in this particular case, hey, what do we need to improve on? Or you start with the premise, you know, we need to improve our pre-busing. So when you've got the service center, so how can we do that? What are some things that we can do to make sure that our guests are taken care of, which, now some magic words, which if they're happy will also increase your tips. So what are some things that we can do to make sure that we solve this problem?
Right.
Now what happens is Susie server says, well, I think as we're walking by a table, if we see something, even if it's not our table, we grab it and walk in. And then somebody else chimes in, and somebody else chimes in. And the manager or the facilitator is like, and what else can we do? And what else can we do? And what's happening is the subconscious is being enacted. And as they're thinking, and they're drawing that information out from their subconscious to their conscious through their lips, they've made a commitment.
Yeah. And that's great because you didn't have to tell them. They told you what they're going to do.
And guess what? That every time and that's just that particular thing, but it doesn't matter what the problem is. That particular situation, pre-busing wasn't an issue the whole shift. The manager didn't have to mention it, just they were able to concentrate on other more important things, take care of the guests. And the point being is you do that with everything.
I think that's a really good tip.
And it's a great tip. It's a skill that needs to be learned because you have to ask questions, and the right question. It starts with listening. We talked about that many episodes ago. And there's certain questions you want to ask, you know, open-ended question, the how can we do something better? What are some things we can do? The one question that people love to ask, and they need to stop asking this, or start with this word. They need to stop starting a question with the word why.
Hey, tell me about that.
Yeah, if you're in an authoritarian position and you ask an employee, hey, why are you doing it that way? They immediately get on the defensive.
I don't know.
Yeah, and they get defensive, like, oh, your question, I'm not going to commit to anything. So, hey, I noticed this happen. What's another way we can do it? How can we improve on this? Blah, 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 blah. If you definitely need to ask why, then soften it by using the words. I'm going to give you a big tip here. Write this down. I'm curious, right? I'm curious. Why would something like, why would you do something? I'm just curious.
Right.
That takes the defense off, but I would still say that's the last resort.
Yeah,
But anyway,
I think that's a real good point. And one of the things we've talked about, David, and I know it's between you and Jerry, something that we've talked about, and I know it's going to be an upcoming topic, is about having effective meetings. And even just these brief moments that you have of coaching and talking with your employees, that may mean as a leader that you need to take the pre-busing topic and really mull it over a little bit and decide how are you going to pose that to your team so that you're not asking why, so that you're not getting defensive responses, right? That's why a lot of times you can't just fire first and ask questions later, right? It's have a little bit of thought before you go out to meet with your teams.
Yeah. And it's a skill set, and it's just like any skill, the only way you can develop it is to use it, to do it, to be conscious of it, to be aware of it. And it takes time because most people in management positions are used to telling people what to do.
Yeah.
Tell. I would say it's ask. Tell is more of a training. Hey, this is what we have to do. And then ask how we're going to get it done. Again, I go through a whole thing in that program when I do some personal coaching with people, but that's at least some tips to say, okay, here's some things I can use right away. If you really want to become adept at it, let me know, right? But and then we can go down that road with it. But that is what I see, especially a junior manager who just gets promoted because they were promoted because they did a great job. They were great at their skill. Doesn't necessarily mean they're great at motivating and leading others.
That's a great point.
It's a skill that they need to develop if they want to continue to motivate and get high performance out of the people they lead.
That's awesome. I think that's actually,
you can tell I'm passionate about it because I love it. I see it. I know it works, and it's not. It's a persuasion technique. I'll leave it at that. It's a persuasion technique. But when I say that, sometimes people go, "Oh, you're manipulating people." No, you're persuading them to do the job that they're getting paid to do, and they want to be successful at it also.
Yeah, and in a respectful way. As always, David, thank you so much for being passionate about the things you do and for sharing them all with us here on the show at Pillars of Franchising.
Absolutely. You're welcome.
And here we have Mr. Jerry Akers. Hi, Jerry. You're on mute. You're on mute. Yes, you are.
I am such a great participant in this that I respect everyone so much. I don't want any outside noise to cause problems. So I'm sorry I forgot to come off. How are you today, Kristin?
I'm good. Yeah. I'm good. It looks beautiful there. You're in the trees. You must be at the lake.
I am at the lake, and I was thinking barbecue clean would be great. I'm different than David in that I barbecue almost every night and sometimes twice a day.
Nice.
But I'm just not sure I'll be able to get anybody to drive out in the middle of nowhere to take care of my barbecue. I'm a little picky about how it's taken care of. Not that barbecue clean wouldn't do a great job, but I already do a lot of it. And I want to tell you that concept is phenomenal. I think Bryan and Nicholas have a great thing going on there. I'm really excited about it. I want to follow it and make sure I see how it goes. So great having them on the show, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's always fun to hear those stories.
Yeah. And another thing, David and I, if you ever get us in a room talking leadership, we're going to be there for days because we got lots of stories to tell. He talked about turning around restaurants, and a lot of the acquisitions in our business that we've done, we've doubled the volume in a year and tripled it in 4 years. And it was almost 100% through building leaders and turning the reins over to them and just keeping them between the rails and coaching them to ask the right questions and lead the right way. So, I mean, I love listening to David and love telling stories based on what we talk about.
I think that's awesome. And you know, it's really crazy too, because when you join a franchise system, that's the one piece, right? Like everything else is laid out for you. But a lot of times how to deal with people, how to coach, the leadership piece, those pieces are often left out of the whole process in franchising. So I think that's a big area that could always use improvement. And I think that's why you guys have such valuable information to add to the show for people who are looking to go into franchising. So what do you have for us today?
Well, you're right, franchise. Well,
Go ahead,
yeah,
I'm sorry.
let's talk about, you know, potential franchisees don't know what they don't know because they're just getting started. So I'm going to spend the next few weeks talking about components of the process of looking for a franchise and going through step-by-step process so that, you know, I think potential franchisees are going to learn a lot and be better prepared to go through that process. And even I think existing franchisees with a little experience are going to listen to some of this and go, gee, I wish I'd have thought about that when I went through the process, you know? So I'm not going to do it necessarily sequential.
Okay.
Well,
We
because
don't
I
do
don't have
anything
to. I can pick the.
Yeah, we don't do anything sequential or normal here.
No.
Right,
And
Ryan? We
it's,
just
you know,
don't.
whenever they get the information, they'll figure out a way to use it. So I think it's all good. So today I'm going to talk about Discovery Day. And
Awesome.
I think Discovery Day is the most phenomenal piece of the lead up to being a franchisee. And many people don't know much about it. They don't prepare for it and those kinds of things. So I want to give a little insight into that today. So if you're a potential franchisee, you may not even really know what Discovery Day it is. So for lack of a better term, I always talk about it with potential franchisees as your first opportunity to meet your new partners.
I think that's a great way to say it.
Your franchisor is a partner with you in some way, shape, or form. So here's what you're going to have. I want to go through this in a little bit of a stage type thing. And then, you know, you're going to have chosen your franchise model, whatever franchise that you think you're going to go with. And then you're going to get invited. You're going to go through the FDD and you're going to sign off on that. And there may be a few other steps. And then you're going to go to a Discovery Day. And in the world we live in today, some of them are virtual or some combination of virtual and in person. So keep that in mind as you're getting set up for this, because it's still in a little bit of a flux right now with the pandemic and so on. But one way or another, you're going to have a Discovery Day.
Jerry,
Now,
do you think that one way, I know this is hard to say right now, and in some ways we just don't have an option, but in what you've experienced so far, do you think that one way is more beneficial than another?
Well, they both have a lot of advantages. I think it's more beneficial doing it in person, to be honest with you, because, you know, you're face to face, you technically have a different vibe. You think of different questions and so on. I think face to face as opposed to virtual. But of course, virtual is quicker. You're not flying to a lovely Southern California in the case of Barbie Clean, or you know, across the country, depending on where your franchisor is. So you will not have 2 or 3 nights in a hotel. You won't have food expenses, maybe a rental car. You won't have airline flights and those kinds of things. So it'll be less expensive to do it virtually. But in my opinion, if you choose to move forward after Discovery Day and become a franchisee of this model, having spent time with the leaders of that franchise group face to face is an opportunity to create a relationship with them that is missing through a Zoom meeting. It's not the same. So I'm a big proponent of face-to-face. And as soon as, you know, the different franchisors get to the point where they're comfortable doing that again, I would suggest that, you know, at minimum, they do at least part of a day that way, and maybe a full day, depending on what their thoughts are.
Okay.
So one of the things I see, is that franchisees don't go to these meetings prepared at all. They show up to be entertained and educated and those types of things. But the fact is, you're meeting your new partners, and this is a 50-50 thing. They want to put on a great front for you, and they want to give you lots of great information, introduce you to the right people, and allow you to ask questions. Well, if you go to that meeting not prepared to ask questions, and you're doing it on the fly, you're not going to think of all the questions that you need to ask. You're not going to have follow-up things that you do with it. And, you know, I like to to sit in a room and see how the leaders of a franchise model answer the questions, because you can pretty easily decipher and figure out whether they're, whether they're really prepared to help you in that category or not. I've seen so many people, let's face it, franchisees come from all backgrounds. And I don't care what the franchise model is. You can go find people that come from sales, marketing, IT, the technical side of something. Maybe they were a blue collar worker, all across the spectrum.
Right.
So every one of those categories is going to think of this and look at it differently. So they've got to prepare ahead of time. They, in my opinion, should have a list of questions and comments and maybe even complaints about the way that they see this playing out or the way they see themselves being in it. So first step is prepare for going through a day or whatever it is of the discovery day, because when you're prepared, you're going to leave that more satisfied, better prepared to take the next steps.
Okay.
So for me, that would be number one. The next step, I think, is to put your best foot forward, because, many people go to these believing the franchisor has already decided on you as a franchisee. And that's not necessarily true in many models. Yeah. So if you do not show up prepared, if you, in my opinion, show up looking professional, I think you stand a chance of not being representative of what you're going to be as a franchisee. You also, you're kind of, trying out for a part, not only as the franchisee, but also perhaps as a future leader in that franchise organization on their advisory committees or whatever the case might be. So making sure that you're able to express yourself and have the right conversations, I think, is critical.
Yep, I think that's great.
So putting your best foot forward, being careful not to come across as being the expert, because I want to tell you a story to help understand this. When you talk about putting your best foot forward, I want to explain a story. I sat in on a discovery day with a gentleman who was, in his past life, had been a business consultant, a business coach, a trainer. He had done a little bit of everything, and he was phenomenal at what he did. He showed up at the discovery day, and when a vice president of some division or department of the franchisor made their presentation, he would tell them their baby was ugly. He would say, that's a kind of a good system, but man, I've got lots of great stuff I can help you with. Once we get involved in this, I'll help you change all that stuff. Well, the next day he found out he wasn't accepted as a franchisee because the franchisor didn't want to deal with that.
Yeah. You don't want to be the squeaky wheel until you get in there and find out if you really need to be squeaky, right?
Yes. They believe they've got a great system. They spent lots of time and money developing it. And you can be a great resource for them once you become a part of the system and you've tried it and you've broken it. You've shown them the problems with that system as a franchisee, and it'll be a different relationship and a different conversation.
Absolutely. The whole dynamic of the relationship between the franchisee and franchisor change, not only post-buy, but I think as you mature as a business owner, as you grow through different revenue levels, I mean, it's so different. So I totally think that's a great point.
Well, and after the situation happened, this guy desperately wanted to be a franchisee. So he had to go through a whole different process to basically earn his way back on the island. When I see him, I talk about the fact he's the only guy I've ever met who was voted off the island before he even got to the island. So it's a good thing to take with them when they're thinking about this. So here's some things also that I would want them to be prepared for. Make sure that they understand what's expected of them as a franchisee. Not only the financial stuff that goes with this, but what kind of numbers am I responsible for? How will I be judged? When you send your expert, whatever that position is within the company, out on a quarterly, semi-annual basis to make sure I'm following the system and, my facility meets your expectations, what is that visit going to look like? Right. And what are the repercussions that come with that if it doesn't go quite well? So I would want them to consider that. I want them to ask about what kind of support they will get, because it's critical to know when you get into it that you're going to have help when you run into a problem, and you will run into problems even as early as picking real estate, lease negotiations, build out, all those kinds of things. You will need help. So who do you call? What are they going to do for you? How far will they go to help you with those kinds of things? Very important.
Yes, absolutely.
So kind of to tag team that, what's the contact information for all the experts in those categories, whether it be, real estate, construction, facilities, marketing, operations, depending on what kind of a organization you're with. So making sure you understand that, making sure you've got different questions for each of those people.
And really, in that discovery day, you should meet at least a representative of all those categories.
You should meet at least one representative from every category you're going to come in contact with. Yep. Theoretically, most of them that I've been to, you'll meet perhaps the president or the CEO of the company, and they'll do a presentation on their background and the company and why it's a great investment, and those kinds of things. And then you'll go through a process where you'll meet maybe the head of each department that I just mentioned, real estate, facilities, construction, marketing, operations, whatever the case might be. So you will have, in my opinion, a one-time opportunity to be face-to-face with them, ask those tough questions to help you make your decision, but also be known to them. So when you do become a franchisee, when you call them with a question or a problem, they remember you. They're happy to take that call. They're perhaps more helpful than my friend who told them their baby was ugly. You'll be accepted.
I love that analogy.
Well, and another thing that I want you to think about, depending on the model you're looking at, there may be future steps. David talked about acquisitions. We continue to grow through acquisitions. There's organic growth by adding on maybe other parts of your business, or buying, building a new location or something like that. So what does that look like? Do you have expectations of me, Mr. Franchisor, or can I just call you and say, hey, I'm interested in X, Y, Z? And how does that process work? Because you may go into it only wanting to own one. We did. We wanted to own one. Today we've got 29. We're about ready to add 10 more, and it's just going to keep going. So we didn't ask the right questions, so we had to learn it on the fly. I'm big on what ifs. So a potential franchisee going into those meetings needs to think about any stumbling blocks they might have to be successful, and be able to say, what happens from your end if I get in this situation?
Good point.
Because then you know how they're going to react. If they have somebody that will calmly work with you and get through that process, or are they going to throw the rule book at you, or whatever the case might be. So make sure you understand all of that. And frankly, the FDD is a great place to start with those what ifs, because in the FDD, they will talk about anybody that wasn't successful. They'll talk about the high, low, and medium quartile of current franchisees, so that you can talk about what makes the top quartile different than the bottom quartile, and how do I make sure that my operation is set up to get into that top quartile. Some great what ifs that you can come up with.
Okay.
And so my last point, and then we'll, if you've got questions, we can go through that. But my last point is, you've got one chance to make a great impression with those vice presidents and the CEO of the company. So make sure you're prepared to do that. And knowledge is power. So make sure you've got the right questions and comments.
I think that's awesome. I will tell you, Bryan and I talked about this once before too. We kind of didn't know really what to expect, and our discovery day was at Disney World. So it was kind of chaotic. I mean, we had all the meetings, but especially at the time when we bought, it was a very close-knit family environment, and things were very comfortable and laid back. And I think that in a different environment with a different franchisor at a different time, it would have been very different. It's
I get it.
not every company can be that relaxed. Not every company is, having cocktails and things each night. And so, and that also brings to light, if you are at a discovery day and, they all tend to typically have cocktail hour, just make sure that, remember, again, this is the first impression and you want to make sure they will remember you. You may not remember each one of them, but they'll remember who you are.
Yeah, you don't want to be the guy that they have to help back to the room at the end of the night because you can't walk straight or something. So
yes.
No, Discovery Day is a great opportunity. So I just want to make sure potential franchisees are prepared to take advantage of it and get the biggest, outcome from it they possibly could.
Absolutely. I think that's great advice. And Jerry, I look forward to seeing the next group of suggestions that you have as folks weave their way through the franchise buying process. So thank you so much for getting this all ready for us today. I appreciate it.
You're welcome, Kristin.
Fred, are you taking us somewhere now? Yes, you are. Look at that.
Oh, I'm sorry. Jerry was talking about FDDs and it put me to sleep.
Well, shame on you.
Hey, greatest cure known to mankind of the insomnia, the FDD. It's all good. So, new background here. Oh, yeah. Isn't that pretty cool? Yeah, there we go. Now we're all back. So, I really like this background, and it started making me think about the next generation of grills. I mean, now you've got propane grills and electric grills, and my favorite charcoal grills are just pure wood and kerosene.
Wait, time out. Is Nick on the screen? Can we all see Nick? I want to say congratulations. Is that your sister in her graduation cap and gown behind you?
Oh, yeah, Ava. They
Congratulations.
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 Thank you.
You're now upside down in the rabbit hole. So,
Sorry, I had to do it.
Next generation grills, I think, will either be solar powered or nuclear powered. So, given a nuclear powered grill or a solar powered grill, what will the technical capabilities of the future grill cleaning franchise need to be? Who wants to go first? Nick, you can take this, or you can run away.
Sorry about that. Did I miss something?
Nope.
Yeah.
All right, so
That was good, Nick.
we'll let Kristin go first.
This is what I get for always volunteering to go first. Well, I'm going to hope that it would be a solar powered grill. Because I think that's the best source of energy. I'm not really a fan of the whole nuclear energy thing. And boy, what would we need to clean those grills with?
I know you'd need suntan lotion or sunblock.
Well, to clean them?
Yeah, what do you think?
Now we go back to when we were little kids and just get a big magnifying glass and just burn everything.
That's a really good idea. I mean, if you want to go with the whole oil it up and burn it off, then why not use my favorite, which is baby oil?
There you go.
I mean, that's how I get my tan on.
We'll start a whole new grill cleaning thing called Chernobyl.
I like Ray's answer. I don't know, Nick. Are you going to be able to solve this puzzle? What would you do? Well, how would you clean a grill like that?
I think if you get right the perfect particle beam that doesn't affect the underlying metal, but just kind of burns off all of the char and everything like that. It needs to be fine-tuned, but I think a particle beam is the way to go.
Now, you're a biology major, not a chemistry major, right?
Particle beam.
Yeah, I mean, plenty of chemistry, but yeah.
I like that. Curious. I like the idea of a particle beam. I'd sign up for one of those.
I personally think phasers on stun. Phasers on stun ordered by Captain Kirk would take care of any solar grill issue that you'd have.
Oh, sure. The one stupid screen I don't have the phaser on. Oh, well. I'm going to have to add it onto this one. Okay.
Nick, welcome to the rabbit hole. This is the strangest part of the program, and we just have so much fun with it.
And I
was looking forward to this part.
Yeah,
I always
you had
do.
a really good answer too.
I like the particle beam. Last 2 weeks, our guests have been kicking the asses of our co-host here. David, it's up to you to you know.
I already had a big magnifying glass. Burn that stuff right off the
Oh,
grill.
he did, and he
No,
doesn't
he
even
did.
have a grill.
I don't even have a grill. I just remember using a magnifying glass to burn a lot of
A lot of other things. What
know.
about a George Foreman, David? You at least have a George Foreman in your house?
No.
You don't
Particle
have that
beam
either?
wins. I'm sorry. Particle beam wins.
Way to go, Nicholas.
Yeah.
All right.
Yay. Well, the Barbie King guy should win, really. I mean, if we beat him, then, you know, we'd have to go buy a Barbie Clean franchise, which is very
I think he wants to
interesting.
do that. I think he wants you to do that anyway. So, you know, hey.
I know.
All
Hey, I
right.
was pulling for Mario. I was thinking that might be a good thing to introduce to him, but
Well, yeah. Oh, well. You'll get it. So, folks, want to thank our guests from Barbie Clean. Thanks to Nick for hanging around and our host. We'll be back not next week because, well, I'll be on the road visiting the grandkids, and grandkids always win. But we'll be back in 2 weeks with another interesting, educational, entertaining, and weird show.
Thank you.
Thanks, man.
so nice to meet you.